Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 22nd, and right now we are looking at the combination of Doppler radars here across Pacific Northwest. You can see the low pressure system spinning across northwest Oregon here. It's actually spreading some moisture back up towards the Puget Sound here. There's a chance for some accumulating snowfall, mainly Seattle southward here. Tacoma and Olympia, better chances further south you go. But you can see Portland's got over an inch of snow on the ground right now, and it's still snowing down there, and some places off to the east of Portland as well, up in the foothills and some of the higher elevation around here. Really getting a good dose of snowfall. There's some winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories in effect across the area. Spokane got a good round of snowfall as well as Kennewick down towards Walla Walla, the Blue Hills. Pullman got some snow also. And we're going to get more rounds here coming up here as we go through this weekend and on in through this week. So right now we're looking at the Pacific Ocean. You can see that cold Arctic air streaming off the coastline here, British Columbia. The water is relatively warm. The cold air aloft is moving over the top of that. That's why you get this cloud streeting, this nice visualization of that cold air moving across that relatively warm water. You can see our upper level low right there across northwest Oregon, southwest Washington, and that's bringing some moisture around here. It's going to hang out for a bit too, so it's going to bring precipitation chances on in through tomorrow. And then if we look back across the Bering Sea here in the Aleutian Islands, there is more moisture here. This system's going to ride over the top of this ridge and bring some more moisture and bring some better chance of widespread snowfall actually across some portions of western Washington, all the way down through Oregon, southwest BC as well, on in through later this weekend, Saturday night, on in through Sunday. We'll take a look at those details here in a moment. This is looking at the current hazards right now. Got to see some winter storm warnings in effect here. They finally put that winter weather advisory out for the Portland area there right now. And again, you could get some advisory level snowfall up towards Tacoma overnight tonight and on in through tomorrow morning. So don't sleep on that. You can get some accumulating snowfall I-5 between Portland and Tacoma overnight tonight. Now looking at this is off in the foothills off east of Portland there, and about 12 to 14 inches of snow this viewer sent me here. Check this out. What an impressive snowfall there. It's well over a foot shown there. So some areas are really getting a dousing from that slow moving low pressure system out there. This is looking at Spokane. You can see some pretty good snow totals here as well. Kennewick 2-3 inches, Walla Walla 3. The Blue Hills getting in on the action. Pullman 1 to 2 inches out there. Wenatchee getting some nice snowfall as well. Now looking at this is the great graphic here from the National Weather Service, Medford, Oregon. You can see Canyon Creek, Sexton, Stage, Smith passes here right about 2,000 feet. And you can see that this white means they're going to be in some kind of a snowfall or freezing temperatures down towards the pass level there. You can see Mount Shasta City, Siskiyou Summit, Diamond Lake, and look how high Crater Lake is relative to all the other areas there. So great graphic there, kind of showing you where the snow levels are going to be as you go on and through tonight through Wednesday night. Actually, this was put out a couple days ago, but I wanted to show you the elevation here. This is going on through tonight, Wednesday night. Now, this is looking at things as they are right now. You can see this low pressure system across northwest Oregon, again, spinning up some of this moisture across Pacific Northwest, but then it does pull away here, and then you can see this system starts to race towards us here. This is the GFS, hot off the presses 18Z, and look at this, just clearly snowfall here as it arrives into the Pacific Northwest, impacting all the way from the western BC coastline all the way down through northern California here, and then this low pressure is going to set up here, and we really have to watch the position of this low here, as it could bring some additional snowfall here across the area as we go on in through the early next week shown here, but we'll worry about that system a little bit more once we get closer to it. Right now we're going to be playing a game of cat and mouse with this system here. Are the southerlies with this system going to scour the air mass out here quick enough to where it just becomes plain old rain, or is that air mass cold enough to where this will start as snowfall across much of the region here? That's what we're going to be watching here over the next couple days. Now looking at here, the European similar map here, low pressure system there across northwest Oregon. You can see that energy riding over the top of the ridge, starting to make its way down the BC coast as you go on in through Saturday and Saturday night. It starts to arrive here. And again, going to be looking at that cat and mouse game between the southerlies and how strong that cold air mass is over the region here. And then again, the European, pretty good agreement with the GFS. And you can see this low pressure out here. We got to watch this closely. It could bring additional rounds of snowfall, even some lower elevation snowfall here as we go on in through early next week. And then we look like we're going to remain active. Watch this as we go out a bit further. You get another frontal system there, and then a strong system tries to come out of the southwest towards Vancouver Island here, a 975 millibar low showing up there at the end of the European run. So we'll watch that extended pattern here as we go day by day also. This is looking at the NAM 12KM. This is the North American model, so it kind of cuts off here. It doesn't show too far out in the Pacific here, but if you put it into motion, you can see that energy moving over the top of the ridge there and starting to peak down towards Pacific Northwest at the end of its run there, 84 hours. And yeah, you can see pretty much a good agreement there with the European and the GFS on the arrival of this system Saturday night here across Washington, then eventually down through Oregon as we go on in through this weekend. This is looking at the total snow ratio in Cuchera. Put that into motion, and you can see some pretty big snowfalls down towards the metro area as we go into tomorrow morning. Show some additional snowfall up towards Tacoma and Olympia here too. Then that low finally pulls away. We extend on in through Saturday night here, and you can see that snowfall arrive. A bit of snow shadowing here occurring across some of Whidbey Island and some of the San Juans. There you can see Seattle, 2.8 inches. You can see some pretty big amounts in here with this system coming up here. So we're going to watch this closely as we go. Look at some of the mountain snows, the additional snowfall that's going to be going on through this weekend as well. So pretty active period. We'll see how this lines up, and we'll watch this day by day, of course, with the potential for some additional rounds of snowfall here. As you saw that uptick across there, now we're up towards 3.7 inches, if you believe the European, by midweek for Seattle, and bigger amounts across southwest Washington. The Portland Metro might not be done here as well. Willamette Valley, more chances. We'll see how that goes. You know, as we get further on into the year, end of February into March, it gets really tough to get snow down to the surface here, and unless things line up just perfectly. You know, the sun's starting to rise in the sky there. Things are starting to warm up a little bit more during the daytime. Now looking at the GFS, let's compare it to what the European just showed us. So you can see big snowfall amounts across some of the Portland Metro here. How will this happen tonight? It's kind of an outcast situation. You saw that low pressure spinning here, so you just got to kind of watch the bands, look at where you are according to the Doppler, and see what kind of totals. But we do have that potential, mainly at Tacoma, Olympia South, through some of the Willamette Valley, especially the coastal range here, as we go on in through tonight into tomorrow morning. Then we get a bit of a break here, go through Saturday night. GFS pointing a pretty snowy scenario here for some of the Seattle Metro coming up down through Tacoma, southwest Washington, maybe additional snowfall down through western Oregon as well. Big snows coming from the mountains, southwest BC, Bellingham. Are you going to get a nice shot of this? It looks like it's a good possibility coming on here through Sunday. Going to extend it a little bit more here and see what it says. You can see it keeps flirting with snowfall and keeps adding to these totals here as we go on in through the 200 plus hour time frame here on into early March, man. Talk about a classic La Nina here. Just truly classic La Nina. I mean, it's just going to be cool and stormy here as we go on in through early March. Now, this is looking at the Canadian. Not so rosy a picture for some areas. Take a look at this. So you can see that additional snowfall coming overnight and into tomorrow across southwest Washington, Portland Metro maybe. And then that next system arrives, does bring an inch and a half of snow at Seattle, but it kind of ends it there. Big mountain snows, better snows up north would include Bellingham, southwest BC, some of East Vancouver Island as well. Maybe even some of the coastal range out here. We'll see how this goes. We have plenty of time to look at this system as we go. Continue on through the extend here a bit more into early March now, and you can see some additional snowfall potentially occurring towards the end of the run there. But I think you guys get the hint there. We are not done with winter here in the Pacific Northwest. Now, this is dew point here. You can see just the chilly dew points here over British Columbia here. The Arctic air is now sagging south across the area. Now, watch this. You can see these dew points even go down further. It means the air is drying out. You can see that low pulling away from the coastline here. We're going to get some offshore winds, and we're really going to get dry. Get your chapstick out here, folks. And as we go through this weekend, you'll notice the dew points remain well below the freezing mark there. And so when the system moves in there, we're going to get some evaporative cooling here, and that's going to be what's the big player here on our next snowstorm. Is the air mass going to be cold enough to where once this precip starts falling through there, it's going to bring that temperature down to freezing there and allow for some accumulation down to sea level? Or are we going to bring these southerlies off the Pacific Ocean and scour at the air mass and keep things in the lower elevations as rain? We'll see how this trends. But right now, the models are saying it's going to start as snowfall. And also, don't sleep on these easterly winds. You can see Portland Troutdale here as we go on in through tomorrow. You can see some pretty big gusts here, up over 50 miles per hour. Easterly variety coming through the gorge. Stampede Gap. Look at that. Gusts over 50 miles per hour are possible. So watch out. Typical windy areas down there, Enumclaw, North Bend, as we go on in through tomorrow. And this will be a visual indicator of the winds here. Let's take a look at this. So you can see the low pressure system right there, northwest Oregon. Check out the strong winds coming off the continent all the way down through California as the Arctic air is on the move. Then you can see the low pressure start to pull away. Strong easterly winds going on in through tomorrow. And then this low finally dives down towards California. Next system starts to arrive here, and you notice these southerlies out ahead of it. It's going to try to scour that cold air there. So we'll see how this trends here over the next couple of days. Are we going to be looking at a nice snowfall here on in through Sunday morning, or will these southerlies kind of ruin it here for the Seattle and Portland metro, maybe up towards Bellingham and Vancouver? We'll see, but I have a feeling this is probably going to start as snow. This air mass is pretty cold, and you could see that in those dew point temperatures I was showing you just a couple slides ago. But anyway, yeah, nice visual representation of that Arctic air just kind of taking over the west coast of North America there. So there's our next storm way back across the Bering Sea out there. So anyway, we'll do this again tomorrow morning. I'll do my typical briefing then. I'll do about California briefing probably as well, as our weather is getting really active. This low pressure system is going to drop down at the coastline and really bring some crazy weather here over the next few days. So we'll be watching this storm. We'll check the models with each run, and we'll try to pinpoint who's going to get the most out of this next setup coming up here. And then we'll check out that low pressure system, kind of interesting off the coast, and see what it's going to do. Is it going to bring more rounds of snowfall down to the lower elevations? We'll check that out. But anyway, so I give you guys this update here. Hope you're enjoying the snowfall. If you're getting any right now, maybe you'll get some overnight. But yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.